Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito
and Crime. Today's episode is brought to you by me, and it's a little bit late, so I'm very sorry about that, guys. It's just that it's been a crazy week. Not only was it was Valentine's Day, so happy late Valentine's Day, and I just had a lot of shit. It just was a hard week, very hard, and I am now rocking pink hair.
Yeah, no, magenta.
Yeah. So that was a little bit. Kind of a little thing to get used to, but I'm used to it now. So let's get right into it. So we're going to go to a city that's called Whiteboro, New York.
Okay.
So if you would like to come with us to Whiteboro, New York, grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
The fuck was that? I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know if you've heard of this case. Maybe you have.
The town no se me hace conocido.
The case is for Dr. Mary Yoder. No?
Cuando me dices nombres, I don't initially
yeah. So the city of Whiteboro. So I was reading online que Whiteboro, I think como es the like the city, but the county was like Yorick or something like that. So they mentioned Yorick County a lot, but the city itself was Whiteboro. So I'm just clarifying that because I did the fun random fact mystery.
Okay. Oh, you added one.
Now it's mystery. Yeah. About Whiteboro. So this one I was telling Estela. So the reason that it caught my eye is because I was going through it, no había nada. I couldn't find anything. I'm like, okay, so it's just like, they were like, this is a town it has this much population.
Is it a small town?
It's a small town.
Okay.
It only has like a population of like 20,000. So sorry, Whiteboro, New York, if I get that wrong. But I know that in like I think
it's not that small. It's not like 5,000.
Yeah, no, it's kind of big. And so then, and once again, I am not talking about anybody and I don't want to offend anybody, but the fun, random, interesting fact about Whiteboro is that they went to court because of the city emblem. So every city, I guess, has an emblem.
Yeah.
So this dates back to 1900 and they went to court because they were trying to change it because it is depicted as a little bit racist.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So in the 1900s, the person who actually put Whiteboro, like whoever made that town or whatever, it was his name is actually Hugh White.
Okay, Whiteboro.
Yeah. So it depicts Hugh White himself in a wrestling match.
Okay.
With an Oneida Native American.
Okay.
Pero, I'm going to tell you. So obviously, Mr. White won the match according to
it's his
history.
City. It's his
city.
But wait, is this based on actual facts?
No, I don't know if this is actual facts.
But this was the emblem.
I'm telling you that when I saw it, I was like, oh, like it was one of those. So if you see the emblem, it looks like the founder, Mr. White, is choking.
Okay.
The Native American.
Okay.
So, but they're like, no, it's not choking. They're wrestling. Right? Pero you need to see it for yourself. So let me show you. So this one right here is the one that they were saying. This is the original, the one from 1900. It says Village of Whitesboro. It's with an S, I'm sorry, New York.
Whitesboro. Borough. Well, it doesn't look like he's choking him to me.
Well, I mean, that was the controversy. And then this was the emblem up to the 19...
But what was the reason for that emblem?
That's
weird.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So this emblem has been like that all the way until 2009.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no.
So like 100 years?
Yeah. And they're like, we're not changing it. And people there were like when they were going into court and shit, they were like, we're not going to change it. And they thought it was funny because they thought it was like a joke at one point. But I mean, like it's a Native American. I don't know, but this is what they changed it to. Now these.
Oh, they got changed.
Yes.
Okay.
In 2009. And this looks like they're wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. The other one
looks like the
No, the other one, honestly,
the Native American
they just look
looks
like
he's winning. I mean, the Mr. White's.
Yeah, it's just odd. It looks odd, but I don't think it looks like he's being choked personally. I just think that it's an odd position. But the other one looks like they're playing football.
Well, I don't know. But anyway.
That was weird.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
But that was a weird, interesting fact about
it. It was
that.
random.
Yeah.
And interesting.
So around 2017 is when they just changed it.
Oh, so literally
in
not
2009, they were like, hey.
They went to court. They started
we might need
proceedings.
to. Yeah. And so now it does look like a little bit like they're fighting. But I thought I was like, what the fuck?
Definitely odd.
Like, can you believe like guys just randomly find white
what makes you think of an emblem like that? That's weird.
I don't know. I guess all of our emblems are just stars, like the Texas Star, I guess. I don't know. I've never looked it up.
I've never really thought of an emblem for a town.
So the story starts with Dr. Mary Yoder. She was a chiropractor in Whitesboro, and she was an all-American woman, Estela.
Okay.
She kind of reminded me of you when you get older because she was...
You know me when I get older?
Yeah, I already know you when you get older. The fact that the way she was, I mean, she was she had the biggest heart, pero she was, let me tell you about her. So she grew up in upstate New York with 5 sisters and 2 brothers. And while she was in college, she met someone by the name of William. So William Yoder, and they were both students at Buffalo University. So Bill is what they would call him. Mm-hmm. He was kind of like...
I always wonder, I think we've talked about this before. How do you get Bill from
we
William?
talked about this. I don't know. We talked about this. Okay. So Bill, as everybody would call him, so he kind of was like a nerd guy looking. He looked like a professor. Okay. So he was a little bit shorter than Mary, and Mary was gorgeous. She had blonde hair. She looked like she was so fit. Like she was always so fit. And at first, Bill says that he couldn't believe that she was actually paying attention to him. And then finally they decided to finish school. They got married and they started a business together.
Oh, so they started dating in school.
They started dating in school, and then they got married and they started a business called Chiropractic Family and Care Facility.
Okay.
Her and Bill had 3 girls and 1 son. And she ends up, when she passed away, she had 7 grandchildren. Everyone that knew her, like I'm telling you, like they didn't have anything but nice things to say. I know that we say that every episode, but
it's
everybody.
It happened. Yeah.
So she loved healthy lifestyle. So she was like 60, but this 60-year-old, no, she did not look 60, excuse me. She would belly dance.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and she would kayak, and she was super active. She did that so much to where like they would take trips just to like hike and do kind of stuff like that. She did really not become a physician or a chiropractor for the money. She did it because she really loved helping people.
Yeah.
So much so that sometimes she would actually trade services with patients if they didn't have any money for eggs or for milk or for like something from their farm because they have farms up there, I guess. And so, I mean, she would just do it because she really wanted to help the community.
Yeah.
Her and Bill were already planning their retirement. They were going to go on a whole trip to Europe, and they were just excited. So this brings us to July 20th, 2015.
Okay.
Mary is 60 years old. Okay. And she was seeing patients, and she said that for her lunch break, she was going to go eat at her mom's house. So when she got to her mom's house, her mom had already ate. So then she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the office and I'll just have a shake or something. So she took a protein shake like she did a lot of,
Often.
And in the office, it was only her and her office manager, Caitlin Connolly. Caitlin and Mary had been working together since 2011 for about like 4 to 6 years, something like that, or 4 years. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't do the calculation.
4.
Whatever. 4 years. Yes. Why did I say 4 to 6? I'm such a loser. Katie was the on and off and kind of girlfriend of Adam, their youngest son.
So her name was Caitlin, but they called her Katie?
Katie, yeah.
Okay.
So Caitlin was...
So era su Daughter-in-law.
Yeah, daughter-in-law.
Okay.
So they were on and off, and they kind of had like a ¿cómo se le dice? Como tumultuous relationship. So I need to stop trying to say words that I can't say. Pero she was a part of the family. Like querían mucho. Then, Mary and her they worked together. Le pagaban, por...
She was a manager.
She was a manager, yeah. She said that she respected Mary and she looked up to her. So this kind of reminded me of me because I do this shit. Like, I integrated into your family so much. So she integrated in her family so much that she would coordinate family game nights for them and like drink beer and dinners and stuff like that. So they would get together, yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! He's gonna shoot! Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
I said that weird.
So, more than an employee, she was part of the family.
Right.
There was no problem when Mary came back from her mom's house, right?
Right.
Mary was like, I'm just going to drink my shake and then go back to seeing patients. So she would also take a lot of supplements.
Okay.
So the supplements that she would take she was working on her own supplement line and she would sell them there in the office. I don't know if she took supplements that day or I don't know what she had done, but it was like a normal Monday for her. She actually loved like natural healing and she had a herb garden of her own and she enjoyed taking care of that. And she, like I said, she was very active. There's pictures of her with her little belly dancer, like the skirt and stuff. That afternoon, she started to see patients and she just started violently vomiting. Like vomiting and diarrhea. And like she was just so ill that she actually told Katie, hey, I need to cancel my afternoon. I cannot do this. Like, no puede hacer el baño. Like, she was just vomiting and diarrhea at the same time. So she calls her husband and tells her husband, you know what? I'm on my way home. I don't feel well. Don't make me dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on my way. So she gets home and she's like, I'm just going to go to sleep and rest. Hopefully I'll rest it off by mañana, ¿verdad? And her husband said que she could barely make it to the restroom.
Oh my God.
She was running to the restroom, vomiting. And at one point the next day, like in the morning, he was like, you know what? We have to take you to hospital. Like, this is not okay. So they take her to St. Joseph's Hospital and she gets treatment. So after she's getting treatment, things were kind of looking like she was getting better. So I'm thinking she was like taking it out of her system, a lo mejor.
Because that's what they tell you. Oh, you just need to, if it's like a bacterial infection
to make it stop, or just don't let us just keep it like, ¿cómo se llama? Take its course.
Yeah.
I don't know how exactly it happened, but they said que she got up to use the restroom. She fell.
She was still at the hospital?
She was at the hospital. Se levantó al baño y se cayó. She fell. And she just went into ICU right after that.
What?
Yeah. So
Did she hit her head?
No. She just like como collapsed.
Fainted.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then, let me tell you something. She literally went through the worst 36 hours or whatever hours that she went of her life. She had 7 heart attacks.
What?
Yeah, so she was having one, they would revive her. She would have another one, they would revive her. Like, she was having one after another.
Wow.
And I, based on what I heard, like, the investigators talk about, they were like, she was suffering a lot. Like, it was a lot. And so everybody was like, well, what's going on? She was just
fine,
getting better, whatever. She was in a lot of pain. And her husband said, hey, I need to call my children, let them know. So one of their oldest child was also a physician. So they brought her in and she was kind of like checking up on her mom and that kind of thing. At one point, they had brought her back so many times that her daughter was like, Dad, we just have to let her go. Like,
if it happens again.
Yeah. So there at the hospital when she passed away was obviously Katie, because Katie was with her the day she got sick. And then
well, like you said, she's part of the family and all that stuff.
Then Katie and her oldest daughter, and then all of her daughters and her son. So they told them, you know what? She passed away. Nothing we can do about it. She unfortunately lost her life. When this happened, they were in shock, Estela. Like, they were like, this lady is the
most fit person on the planet.
Like, how does this happen? She like takes care of herself. She drinks water. She has no foamy urine. Like, she was just like taking care of herself. And they're like, how is this possible? Wow. How is this possible?
Barbie said foamy urine because right before we started recording, she's like, what did you say?
So whenever you are not hydrated, well, like you pee and then your pee is foamy, right? I know it's a medical
I told Barbie,
thing.
I was like, hey, do you want some water? She's like, yeah. And then she's like, I need to drink more water because I can't be having foamy urine.
Yeah. And so what happens is that, you have darker urine. I don't know. I'm not talking about urine anyway, but whatever. So then it's just happened so quickly that her family was like
in shock.
So since she passed away at the hospital basically in the emergency room, they had to perform an autopsy a fuerza. They didn't give them an option. So they performed.
How do you not want to perform one, or how do you?
I mean, there's people que no quieren esta.
I know.
There's people that don't. So,
but like you said, for somebody that was so fit and so healthy in 36 hours, she just like dies.
Do you imagine, like, she was just literally just fine?
How do you even process that?
How do you process that? Yeah. So they started on the autopsy. The weird thing was, Estela, que when they looked at her like blood under the microscope, her cells were attacking each other. Like, they were fighting each other, which this tells the medical examiner that she had something in her blood. Something was not okay with her blood. So after this, they were like, okay, they did test her for like arsenic, cyanide, those kind of things to see if maybe that's what it was. But everything was negative. They couldn't find what it was. So the family said, okay, well, we'll just take our beloved mom, and they cremated her. They cremated her. So the thing was, the examiner was still kind of like, bro, wait a minute. Like, I still need to find out what she passed away from, right? So when he sees them, like I can just imagine like boom, 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 fighting. Y entonces les dijo,
obviously, before they cremated her, obviously they have samples of your blood and all that stuff.
So they had one vial of blood left. He's like, I can't take chances. I have to send this off somewhere to make sure that they test for everything, right? Because it was obvious that she had died of poisoning, or somebody had poisoned her. So that's why they checked for arson. ¿Cómo se llaman las cyanide y todo eso. Yeah. So then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and send it, because she was already cremated. So they weren't going to...
She was already what?
Cremated. So they weren't going to get any more information or anything.
Yeah, it's not like you can exhume her body later. You couldn't. Yeah.
You couldn't. Like I said, he sent it to the poison control, like in the neighboring, como like town or whatever. And they did get the result back, pero it did take about a month for them to get them. It takes time. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that she was positive for was a drug called colchicine. So colchicine, como colcha. Let me tell you what colchicine is. It's a drug that's commonly used for patients that have very inflamed joints, or something called gout.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And when they use that in small dosages so that it could help people that have, muscle pain in their joints and stuff. But when in high dosage, it can be very harmful. I also read that colchicine is also used for plants, como para echarle a las plantas como comida. And it helps the plants grow.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was kind of, bro, like, why would you?
Maybe you need to do it for your dying plants.
No, the bitch is dead. The plant is dead, bitch. So
and literally the pot says future dead plant or something.
Dead. And so then, like, I just feel like it's weird how you're gonna use the same thing to like
make something grow and then be alive.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of weird, but anyway,
that's crazy.
So the amount of colchicine that was inside of Mary's body was enough to kill her 15 times over. Yeah, it was like somebody wanted to kill her. They wanted to make sure she passed. So they believe that they might have used the colchicine that was the harvesting grade, not the medication grade of the colchicine. At this point, they're like, okay, this is not normal for her to just have colchicine in her body. So we're going to have to find out because she didn't take any meds. So where the hell did this come from?
Right.
So they started to investigate, and they did investigate to see if Mary was maybe suicidal. Maybe she took the colchicine herself, or maybe she was sad. But they're like, bro, there's no way that Mary would have done this to herself. Her friends, everybody knew her. And they're like, she didn't have an ounce of thought of maybe that you would see somebody that would kill herself, right? So at this point, they even thought that maybe it was in the supplements that she took.
Right.
So this kind of got them really scared because they're like, fuck, bro. Like, if it's in the supplements that she took and she's selling this shit out of her office.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so they're like, we need to test all the fucking supplements to make sure that there's no colchicine in there, because si hay ahí, pues ya valió verga. It would be
gonna die.
Yeah, it would be bad. So they did check the supplements and everything was negative.
Okay, good.
So they started with her husband, because that's where you always start, right?
Right, the investigators?
And the investigators did. And I mean, they were like, okay, so what exactly happened here? So they're like, let's take a step back and find out. The biggest players inside of making sure that everything is, taken to the cops and everything are Mary's sisters, 3 of them.
Okay.
And so kind of keep that in mind because it comes back. But anyway, I mean, her husband didn't really get much money, a payout from insurance or anything. But for some reason, he got like $400,000 from his dad. I don't know.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like he got money from his dad because his wife died. I don't know if that's rich.
So it sounds like they were well off anyway,
yeah,
right?
I mean,
they were doing
well. Yeah,
yeah.
And so it wasn't like he was getting money. It wasn't like
it's not like he was getting millions of dollars or anything like that.
They were like,
I mean,
okay.
it's not. That doesn't mean that people don't kill for less, or people kill for nothing. So
Yeah.
you just never know anyway.
The thing was that when they started to talk to him, he was being very cooperative. Like he was like, I'll tell you whatever you want. I'll give you my phone. Like I didn't do any information. But the thing is that Mary's 3 sisters were able to give information to the officers about Bill. And apparently Bill had moved on and he started dating Mary's older sister.
What?
Kathy. Yes.
Not Kathy. Not Katie. Not Katie from The Office.
No, Kathy.
Su cuñada.
Su cuñada. Yeah. So investigators are like, wait a minute. Did he kill her to get with this cuñada? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know.
Is this... Wow. Okay.
Anyway, so they're like, you know what? We're going to start questioning people around him. Maybe they've seen something that might be abnormal about Bill, let's see. So they were like, you know what? We'll start investigating with Caitlin because she's the one that
was there that day with her when she got sick.
So at this time, they're going back and forth about how they're going to investigate Caitlin and all of this other shit.
Begin with Caitlin.
But something happened that was really interesting. The investigators or the coroner's office, ¿cómo se dice? Coroner's office. Che pendeja. The coroner's office. Excuse me, Spanglish, bro. The coroner's office received a letter. In the letter, it stated that the person who was writing this letter knew the killer of Mary.
What?
Yeah.
And that got sent to the coroner.
To the examiner's office.
Medical
examiner's office, and one to the actual cops. To the, police station. Yeah. So, ellos le están diciendo, ¿sabes qué? I know who killed her. Who killed Mary.
And you said that this happened while they were starting to investigate Katie. Caitlin, the manager.
They were going to question her to find out if she had any information about Bill.
Her.
Because Bill pues andaba chingándose a la cuñada. Entonces, what happened was that in the letter, it says that
was this handwritten?
No, it was typed up.
Oh, okay.
And they say que en la letra.
Sorry.
En la carta, dice que it was her son Adam that had killed her.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
This family...
Wait, hold on. So the letter stated that Adam had told the person who wrote the letter or confided in them que he was mad because he was supposed to get more money from his mom dying.
What?
Yeah. And that the payout that he wanted was just not going to be enough. Can you hear my stomach? The letter also stated that Adam still had the colchicine in his Jeep. Yeah.
Okay.
And that it was under the passenger side seat of the Jeep.
Okay.
Okay. Saying that.
And this letter got, this exact same letter saying the exact same things got sent out. It was two of the exact same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lo mismo. Y entonces le dice, and then the person on the letter says that I guess Adam was trying to figure out what to do with the colchicine next. So la traía ahí como
like just holding on to
vaciándola,
it.
I guess.
Yeah.
At this point, the investigators are like, okay, hold on. You know, they think that whoever wrote this letter is either trying to frame Adam or they know more than they're saying.
Or they're trying to like
probably
throw them
have
off.
an inside, whatever. So then they even went as far as thinking of maybe Bill was the one that
sent that letter,
or Bill was trying to frame
his son,
So they talked to him and everything.
To Bill?
No, they talk to Adam. They bring him in and they say, hey, Adam, this is going on.
And got this. Do they tell him que agarraron esa
so
carta?
They did tell him que habían recogido la carta. This happened around December, cuando ya empezaron a hablar con Adam y le empezaron a decir, hey, this letter came in and they're mentioning your name, but he's like, no, I love my mom. I had a really good relationship with her. And he was just in shock that anybody would even think that
I was
it was
about
him.
to ask you, did they have a good relationship?
They did. They had a really good relationship.
And do you know if she had a good relationship with all of her children? Like
yes.
her daughters?
Yeah. She was very close to all of them and her 7 grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so then they brought him in and empezaron a preguntarle and he's like, hey, you know what? I need a lawyer porque I'm not going to let you just search my Jeep. And so he calls the lawyer and the lawyer said, hey, if you're not hiding anything, pues déjalos, que busquen, right?
Really?
Yeah. So the lawyer said, if you're not hiding, go ahead and let him search. So he did. He's like, okay, cool.
So he just called to get some advice from the lawyer?
Yeah,
kind
like
of?
he was like, I need to call my, you know how you say I need to call my lawyer, but he really did call his lawyer?
Oh, he already had a lawyer.
Yeah, I guess they don't know how that is. I don't know.
They retain lawyers.
I would be like, anyway.
I can't afford it.
Yeah, I can't afford it. So anyway, then after this, he's like, okay, let's go ahead and go. Whatever. Adam was smoking a cigarette. So estaba fumando, esperando que checaran el Jeep.
If he was there, they were
there. Yeah,
okay.
they were in front of him. And I mean, he was just kind of, but dude, whenever you see the pictures of the Jeep, because they have pictures of the Jeep when they were investigating his Jeep, girl, había una pinche basurera. Like basura por donde quiera. Like,
in su Jeep?
In su Jeep.
I wouldn't expect that from a man.
I don't know, but.
I mean, I know, whatever.
Different. Yeah, but he had shit everywhere. Like it was. Like, I thought that was interesting. But anyway, so whenever they put their hand abajo de donde está el asiento.
Where the letter said que ahí tenía el colchicine.
Sacan el colchicine. Yes, girl. So sacan el colchicine y Adam is in such shock que hasta se le cayó el pinche cigarro de la boca.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah, and so he's like, wait a minute, like, I don't know what this is about. Like, he was like in utter shock. Y entonces dice que he's like, cuando abrieron el colchicine, estaba envuelto como en un piece of paper y adentro y arriba tenía como una, like a cardboard box, kind of like a cardboard piece, y tenía un recibo. So in el recibo, that actually was the receipt of where someone had purchased the colchicine. Okay?
Yeah.
So then in the recibo, they also had like information que the medicine had been sent over to the office. No, to the office.
Oh, okay. Like it delivered. It got delivered.
It got delivered. Y también tenía an email. And on the email was Mr. Adam Yoder 1990 @gmail.com.
Okay.
So when they showed this to Adam is like, that's not my email. I don't have that. That's not my email.
Right.
So then he was like, bro, it wasn't me. Like he was in shock. So they start questioning him again and they're like, he's like, I was not even in the area. You can check me. I was with my sister. I had gone to visit her. So cuando they checked him, yeah, in fact, tenía como el Easy Pass. So se veía que he had passed. He estaba lejos de allí. Like it was like he
didn't buy it.
In fact, he's like, I wasn't even in the area, right? So once again, he's like, I didn't have a bad relationship with my mom. He doesn't point any fingers. He doesn't say it must have been somebody. They just say, okay, well, we're going to investigate. Lo dejan ir para su casa. So they start investigating to find out more about Bill, because they're still like, Bill has to have something to do. No, pues anda con la cuñada. Y entonces,
imagine how weird that must be for his kids.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I think so. And so on December 21st of 2015, they bring Katie in, right? And they start questioning her, and she told the investigators, like, su vocecilla, like, la tenía como, like, really high-pitched, como, like, casi como llorona, you know? Y luego, like, they start asking her, well, you know, what do you know about Bill? And he's like, well, I don't really know much about him, que no sé qué, but they eventually ask her about her relationship with Adam. Y dice ella que she was scared of him.
Oh, shit.
And so they're like, and she's like, you can't help me. Le dijo así al cop. So, but the thing is, esa word, cuando ella dice eso, you can't help me, that was one of the words que estaban en la letter. So el cop is like, you know what? Algo está mal aquí. She said she feared him and that he was very violent y que she was just scared. She didn't want to talk.
Adam.
Yeah, because Adam, pues le tenía miedo pues a Adam. And the cop, the investigator was like, I mean, at this point, I'm looking at her like, okay, so you're sus, right? So le dice, okay, well, you're so scared of Adam, right? And she's like, yeah. Y le dice, okay, well, did you write this letter? And then she goes again, no, I'm scared, y que no sé qué. So then al último, he started pushing the question. Y he's like, and she's like, yeah, I wrote the letter.
Or typed.
It. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
She typed the letter.
Why?
Exactly. They ask her, why? Why did Adam confide in you? ¿Por qué te dijo a ti? And if he was the one that poisoned his mom.
Right. And remind me again, were they together at this time or no?
They were on and off.
Yeah.
So they had like a kind of...
Oh, you did say it was like a tumultuous relationship. Yeah. I just didn't know if they were on at this exact moment or...
No, they were kind of on and off. And so she started, you know, saying that Adam had done this y que...
Right there and then?
Right there and then. And then le dice el cop, this is her exact words, le dice, oh, well, why do you think that he poisoned his mom? Y le dice, yeah, I think it's a power struggle. I think it's a control thing.
That's all she says.
En quote. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the detective asked her again, so you're saying that you're afraid of Adam? Y ella le dice, yes, I am very afraid, and I'm scared because Adam is very violent. Le volví a decir, ¿verdad? And for someone that like loved Mary so much, she didn't show any emotions or empathy for what had happened to Mary, ¿verdad?
Like lágrimas de cocodrilo, or just like none?
Sí, kind of like estaba, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And then they went to ask her if somebody could be framing Adam, because the FBI studies show that guys
don't usually poison.
Not only that, but they don't hang on to the murder weapon because that's how they get caught.
Right.
And then Katie, and I quote, said, right, but also guys do not use poison. Y le dice el detective, yes, a lot of people do. And she says, well, they say it's a lady's weapon. And so the detective says, a lady's weapon? Like le preguntó. And then Katie's like, yeah. So, así quedó.
Uh-huh.
So she admits to writing the letter and
y que le tiene miedo
a Adam, so she can't talk about it.
But she never really says he did it, right? Nomás dice... Or she's saying que, yeah,
he did it. No. Dice que le dijo que he poisoned her porque he was mad about the money.
Yeah. Okay, okay, sorry.
So it's okay. But then this is when this is when the detective said, you know what? I think that at this point she did it. If something happened to Mary, it wasn't really it wasn't towards Mary. It was probably towards someone else, you know?
Like to hurt somebody else.
Through Mary.
Yeah.
So they're following up with Bill. Porque Bill pues está medio sase porque andaba
con la cuñada pues.
Yeah. Sí, las sisters de Mary, they were adamant que él tuvo algo que ver.
¿Que quién?
Que Bill la mató.
Pero the other two sisters, no con la que anda.
Three, porque eran cuatro.
¿Cuatro including Mary?
No, eran cinco. Mary se murió. La older one, Kathy, que es la con la que anda con...
Oh, ella no estaba metida. The other three were the ones that were pushing.
Yeah, and one of them was a nurse, and they were all like pushing and whatever. Y dicen, no, es que él tiene algo que ver. So he says that the reason that he killed his wife was because he was dating, you know, their sister.
Yeah.
And so but they brought him back in. They're like, okay, well, vamos a hablar con él otra vez. And once again, he was an open book. He told them everything that they wanted. He had an answer for every question. I mean, they were like, he was helping. I mean, there wasn't like something that they could see.
No ponía peros.
No ponía peros. And they asked for his phone, les dio el phone, whatever. And they really did think that he was being truthful.
Did they ever, talk to the sister? Con la que andaba Bill?
I don't know that, but let me tell you a little bit about something else. So then he kept saying that he had actually started the relationship with Mary's sister, but a few weeks after Mary had already died.
A few weeks?
I don't know, dude. So with that being said,
I know everybody grieves differently, but that's weird.
So at this point, they're going back and forth, que si fue él, si no fue él. So they're like, okay, let's check on Katie, a ver qué es lo que anda haciendo la Katie, ¿verdad? So they ask her for her cell phone. Y ella se los da, like without a problem. And they took it for analytics. And they did find that in her phone is where the Mr. Adam Yoder at 1990 at gmail.com was made. And it was also accessed through her cell phone. Yeah, and it was linked to her cell phone. Not only that, this is funny, dude. Because, you can tell when somebody's being petty. Porque the password to the email was Adam is gay. Yeah.
Wow.
And this was also obviously the email that was used to purchase the coach thing.
So stupid.
So she was 22. So
una mocosa.
So detective asked Bill if they can go through the office computers because they wanted to, check on Bill too or whatever. And he's like, sure, go ahead. So when Bill let them in and he started letting them go through them, and that's when they find out that the letters were written or typed on the computer that only Katie was used.
At work.
At the front desk.
This bitch.
Yeah. So she gave a DNA sample. She was like, sure, here you go. So they compared it to the cardboard that was in the Jeep. Ya ves que te dije que estaba envuelto?
Wrapped, yeah.
And there was only one DNA that was on that cardboard, and it was Katie's.
Right. So we know that because she said that she wrote the letter, right?
Okay. She wrote the letter.
Yeah.
Pero she said she wrote the letter, but she didn't say that she was the one that
was behind the email.
Right. Or that she's the one that poisoned her. So at this point, they're like, okay, you're looking pretty sus, but
more than anybody else at this point.
The stamp that was used to send the letters, only one DNA on it, and it was Katie's.
But she said she sent the letter.
She wrote it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So at this point, they don't have any concrete evidence. To be honest, they don't have any concrete evidence on Katie.
Any DNA.
Yeah, or any DNA that she was the one that killed Mary. Because she did write the letter. She's like, I wrote it.
But because Adam did it and he told me.
And he told me to do it. So all the evidence was circumstantial and they didn't have any witnesses. So they're kind of like, well, how are we going to get a conviction that somebody had poisoned Mary?
I mean, they know that she was poisoned, but they don't know, they can't pin it on somebody.
But with this, the detectives decide that they had enough. So they did charge Caitlin of Mrs. Mary's murder nearly a year after her death. And they did arrest her on June 13th of 2016. Mm-hmm. Now, the grand jury I guess they had a grand jury
indictor.
And it was they did charges of they wanted to charge her with second degree murder. Mm-hmm. So they were in a hometown and the community was not happy about Katie's arrest because she was a 22-year-old young girl, beautiful, and she was a very big part of everybody's life. And I mean,
was she well known in town?
Yes, her family and also the Yoders were very known in town. So I mean, it just didn't make any sense
to the public
of why would she do something like that to Mary if she loved her so much?
Right.
Not only that, but the prosecutor said, I know that I need to find 12 jurors that will not have a bias. Yeah. And so not only that, but because she's a young white woman and they don't put people in jail like that for doing anything. So they did believe that they needed to get at least more women than men. Because a woman will be less biased on somebody that had killed. Yeah. So
como que les va a dar más lástima a los hombres.
Because at another case that kind of similar
previously that had
happened, they had gotten a result on it in 4 hours. So now this is where we're at. They go into trial.
Yeah.
Y entonces, in May 2017, the prosecution said that Katie was the one that poisoned Mary. And that was because she had given her the protein drink. que allí es donde le había echado el colchicine, and that there was nothing for Mary to suspect because she had been drinking that before. But the defense said that it was not true, that actually Bill was the one who killed her because according to them, because she had been dating Mary's sister, Kathy. Mm-hmm. So now they were not really blaming Adam. Now they're saying it was Bill, mm-hmm. right? According to the prosecution, Katie was angry at Adam because they were not together. So she wanted to hurt him by killing his mom and bringing them back together in grief. And actually that did work because he did go back with her. Whenever todo eso pasó, sí se juntaron for a little bit. He also mentioned that, I don't know if it was like during this or whatever, but he mentioned that she told him that she had an ectopic pregnancy. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but that is just a baby that doesn't make it to the actual where it's supposed to go. It stays in the fallopian tubes. Y él se juntó con ella otra vez because he felt bad for her. He even left his girlfriend
he had already been dating somebody else.
Yeah, he had been dating someone else. So the defense, not the defense, no, it's pinche football. They stated that Katie did not have a reason to kill her, that was her mentor and friend, that it was her boss and she didn't have any reason to kill her. Actually, she did post something on Facebook that I'm going to read to you. Katie, cuando se murió la señora, the day that Mary had passed. So I'm going to read this, okay? So this is from Katie. She posted this July 23rd, 2015. She said, "If love could have saved you, you would have lived forever. Dr. Mary, I still can't believe you're gone. Yesterday was so sudden. You truly were a positive light in the world. And I am so lucky and thankful our lives crossed paths. There wasn't a day I didn't look forward to work with you. You taught me so much and such a profound impact on my life. Everyone appreciated your attention, stories, and laughter. We will remember you for your light, energy, and strength. And best way we can think to honor your life is to emulate your genuine, cheerful, and kind spirit. You will be sorely missed and lovingly remembered. God has gained the best angel. We love you." Once again, this is whatever Katie was writing or whatever.
On the day that she passed.
I mean, at this point, they're like, okay, she really loved her. She wasn't going to do that. But then at the other way, I mean,
And you just have to plant out in the jury's mind.
Yeah, exactly. And all the evidence, once again, was circumstantial. So eventually the trial ends. They do go off and the jury deliberated. And it took them, I think it took them 4 to 5 hours. And they didn't have a result.
Or hung jury?
It came hung jury. And so then they said, well, you are going to have another trial. Mm-hmm. Okay. So between the time that they were waiting for the new trial to begin, they did find out some information about that Adam shared with them. Adam said that he connected Adam said that Katie, had connected her phone to his laptop to kind of save some things, or ¿cómo se le llama? To backup. Uh-huh. So dice que whenever they were going through that information, there were some questionable Google searches that Miss Caitlin had been doing, and she Googled a few times what is the strongest poison to kill a woman? How much do you need to kill a woman? So I mean, she had been doing this. Now they go back into the new trial. And at this point, they're saying, okay, it wasn't Bill. Now they're like, we're going to drop Bill. Now they're saying that it was Adam again. And that they're saying because of the fact...
This is a defense.
The defense, yes. Sorry, I didn't explain that. And that the reason that Katie was... that Katie had done all of this was to please him because she was scared of him, like she had said, and that he was an abusive boyfriend and all of this other shit. So on November the 6th of 2017, she was found not guilty of murder in the 2nd degree, but they did find her guilty of manslaughter in the 1st degree. So that, with that being said, she was sentenced to 23 years in prison.
Oh, shit.
Now, Adam did have a victim statement, and he stated that he was so mad at himself for introducing his parents to her. And he's like, I'm more mad at myself than I was to her. It was my fault. They gave her a job. She became part of our family. So he was very upset at himself. So the craziest part, and I know that this is going to sound crazy because I was like, what the fuck, is that she actually had someone talk on her behalf she did. And
she couldn't talk or what? She couldn't open her mouth?
No, but they were, you know how they do like a statement para ayudarlos or whatever? ¿Cómo se le llama?
No.
I don't know. But they had someone que hablaba para ella and to give a statement about how she was not guilty.
Her lawyer?
No. Mary's sisters. So Mary's sisters.
Are you talking like a character witness?
Character witness,
Oh,
yeah.
it's a character witness?
Something like that. Pero sí, alguien que would talk good about her to kind of tell the jury she's not that bad, whatever. And it was her sisters that were on her side. They even said on her side. So I'm going to explain that to you. The sister was, when she spoke, were saying that the reason that Bill was...
So they believed that it was Bill. They
still believe till today that it was Bill. That it wasn't Katie. So let me explain to you why they think this way. Okay. So the sisters are saying that the reason that Bill is guilty is because when Miss Mary was in the hospital and she wasn't doing well, Bill had gone home after, I guess, to go wash up or something like that. And when she wasn't doing as well, he wouldn't answer his phone for them to tell him that she was not doing well. So they were like calling him, y no contestaba, and Mary was by herself in the hospital. Mm-hmm. So then they actually had to send a cop over to their house para que le tocara. Para que fuera, hey, you know what, your wife is not okay. You need to come to the hospital. And then after that, he's like, okay, I'll be there. And then he took an hour to get to the hospital after he was told that. So not only that, they always claimed that, once again, Bill and Adam were so eager to get her cremated. It was so eager to get her cremated that they didn't even tell her family that they were getting ready to do that. So that's another thing. The sisters were another thing that the sisters were claiming were that they were both doctors and everything, pero que they were in a lot of debt. Y que Bill was mad at Mary because he was 70 and he was not able to stop working and he couldn't retire. And also, the only reason that they started the criminal investigation was because 3 weeks after they had come back positive for the colchicine, the sisters were the ones that went to the cops. Bill didn't go. Nobody went. They were the ones that started the investigation. So if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't even, none of this would have happened. Mm-hmm.
But how do you explain? Never mind.
I mean, I it's like, that's where it's kind of like two-sided, right? Also, according to like the information that was given, whenever they did the autopsy in Mary's stomach, no había shake. Mm-hmm. So the only one that actually had mentioned the protein shake to the officers or to the investigators was Bill. Pero no había shake in her stomach. And Bill had said that she hated protein bars, and the only thing that was in her stomach was a protein bar and grilled chicken.
But she had already thrown up a bunch.
Maybe you're right, but they're saying that there was no evidence of that. I don't know. I mean, once again, it goes back to the same thing. Like, it could be anything. Not only that, but they're saying that he actually started dating. I mean, Bill started dating Kathy because guess what? Kathy's husband had recently passed away.
También.
Y él sí le dejó dinero a Kathy. So Kathy estaba forrada. So tenía dinero. Y not only that, but according to witnesses, they mentioned that this whole time, even people had seen his car outside of Kathy's house before Mary was even dead. Yeah. Or passed away.
Passed away, yeah.
So they also, basically they just kept saying that Katie was framed by Adam and Bill. That Adam and Bill were framing her, that they had full control of all the computers in the office. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but that they both were really good at computers. And that they had access to Katie's phone because it was there at all times. Apparently, they instructed their workers or their employees that they had to put their phone in the room behind them while they were at work,
right?
So that they wouldn't use it. So there was open access for them to access her phone, and they could have done anything
and grab it.
Yeah. Not only that, but Adam and Katie shared an Apple ID. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. Also, Katie's phone was not password protected.
Yeah.
Also, Adam was the one that put together the Wi-Fi at her home, and they didn't have a password for that either. At her parents' house.
Right.
not only that, we go back to the grade of high, how much she was
given.
Colchicine was given. So like I said before, colchicine in a large amount could be used as something to help grow plants. So back in the 80s, Bill was growing his own weed. So he would grow his own weed. So he knew that was going to help his plants and stuff like that. So with that being said, when the investigators asked Bill, like, she was, poisoned with colchicine, he said he'd never heard of colchicine
before.
Mind you, you're a chiropractor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how is it that you never heard of this? So at this time, Katie is still trying to say that she's guilty, and she's still tried to appeal not too long ago.
That she's not guilty.
That Katie is saying that she is not guilty.
Yeah.
That she is innocent. And not too long ago, they actually tried to overturn, and she was
What do
denied.
you think?
I don't know. I know that this episode took me a long time, and this is why we're late, but it was because there was so much information, like, from everywhere, and things like that. He mentioned the shake, and then he didn't mention the shake, and he lied, and all of this stuff, and how the sisters are convinced that it wasn't her, and that Adam had told her to do it. They were saying that all of a sudden Adam and his dad were not very close, and then as soon as his mom passed away, they became super close. But that could have happened because,
organically she passed,
you know? Or, there was just so many things and the reasons, and I understand why the sisters, see, the thing is, I understand why
you can see it from both sides.
Yeah, I understand why her sisters would have been like, because I know my sister would have been like, bitch, you're dating my other sister.
Yeah.
Like, no, motherfucker. So
that's crazy.
That is the story of Dr. Mary Yoder. And unfortunate story of Dr. Mary Yoder. Because it sounded like she would have been amazing. And you imagine her little 7 grandchildren and everything just, So thank you so much. Sorry about that wait. And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to rate us, leave us a review, download our episodes, or share our podcast, we'd really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
My feet are freezing.
Pues es que también te veniste en chaco, ¿eh?